Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast this evening. Wow, we have come to the end of a long month of great information, wonderful speakers. We met with people who helped with red flags. We met with many people who helped with relationship understanding. And so, welcome this evening to the final night of Unite in Light Domestic Violence Conference. Thank you again for making this third annual yearly event amazing. I'm a little bit nervous now. So, I've got a lot planned for you tonight, and I'm excited to have this kickoff, and everything is really awesome. So, I want to make sure that all my things are connected and doing well. So please drop your comments in the comments box below. And I really have some great things to show you this evening. But first, I again wanted to say a major thank you to everyone who has been a part of the program. It's been a very exciting month, and we have made it through. We started October the 4th, 6th, 11th, 13th, 18th, 20th, 25th, and it is today, the 27th. Thank you for all of those who continued to show up, purchase tickets, be able to get the free PDFs and all of that. It's been exciting. Thank you, everybody. It's been an excellent conference. Yes, I agree. Estelle, thank you for being a part of it on the 20th. Thank you for being such a great speaker. The whole concept about everything that we're doing tonight is this culminating event into something what is very dear to my heart. And since I developed this conference, we noticed a pattern, and that was the different topics that we discussed, which were prevention, learning about warning signs, which are red flags, learning and understanding how healing can happen in different approaches, learning how the men in our lives and whom we work with, whom we are friends with, whom are within our family, how they have a great impact within our lives. We've also learned about the financial and how important it is to prepare yourself for the exit plans that happen. All of the information you can find again right here on this website. We've downloaded all of the recordings, and we'll have everything there for you. So if you ever want to get the replay, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is Beacon of Light, April Tribe, juke.com. Oh, not .com, because it's YouTube. You'll find it. I promise. So while we're kind of getting some of these things through, we also want to share that the Supporters Toolkit, which is that support that many of you can have as you go through your journey and in helping somebody else. As always, we have the 1-800 number here, right here, right here, right here. If you need any kind of support or help in your life, and if you're in immediate challenging times or danger, please reach out and call. So many of us have been touched over the month. In fact, I was able to receive great information from another person who shared her exit story. And I asked her, what is your continued plan? And she was able to give me great information. And that was fantastic to see that she was not in the victim role, that she had taken on her life and moved things forward. And really, that is the hope of a conference like this. So there are many parts. It's all sticky and messy, but there's real life that can happen. So tonight, I want to share with you all of these things and how every family should become a supporter with the Supporters Toolkit without having to become that professional advocate. There's something really big about this, and my two books help support where this book, Pinpoints of Light: Escaping the Abyss of Abuse, really shares the story. You fall into what's happening. I wrote it in that way where, as the events unfolded within my life, you would be captured into the story and start to care. From there, moving out and away and escaping, we came into this out of darkness where I wanted to get out and stay out. And I wrote about my discovery of healing. So these two books really help to encompass a story that is life saving. So, with life saving moments, I want you to know that in all of our time together, we hope that this will help you define your role as a supporter, how to understand what strong boundaries are in that supporter's role, know what to say, build empathy, and know how to become someone's Gloria. The impact at all of this, I will share these links as well as QR codes because I want you to know I have a free assessment. So, as everyone else offered and shared out their PDFs, this is one that's really near and dear to my heart. This assessment is to understand, what is your supporters IQ? What is it that you can do to help somebody that might be in the situation? And so this quiz is just 10 questions and helps you to understand, maybe my role could be this, or possibly my role could be that. And it just gives you great information for it. Again, a little bit about myself. I wanted to share that you can see in my younger years some tumbling, some awards. And then as we matured through that and did some cheerleading through college, I was able to leave and serve a mission. And putting the name of Christ over my heart and teaching people how to pray, teaching people how to find God, it's a really impactful time in my life. Also, following that, falling in love, getting married, as you can see here, and then things changing, as you can also see. Sometimes our lives are like this pinpoint where we might just have a lot of darkness around it, and there's just one spark of hope that we need to reach for. And you can see in this wedding picture, we're very much in love. That's true. I think many of us who enter relationships enter in with that hope, with that light, with an understanding that things can go on. We sure will have challenges, but maybe as a team we can go through it. And when the team breaks, sometimes we have bigger challenges than we think. Well, that left me with 5 beautiful children, and their light is amazing. They have taught me a lot of things about loving, about helping, and about knowing that you can be kind and love despite any choices. So here is us right after we left. You can see very young, but very hopeful for the future. Speaking of hope, so my life did change and turn things around. And a lot of it had to do with the lessons I learned after escaping and getting out of that darkness, learning how to put things together in such a way that really gave supports and love and impact with so many things. The idea of now taking my first 5 and then adding a husband and adding 4 more children of he and I together, having 9 children, really has developed into an amazing learn wins for life. And I share about what I learned in this out of darkness. You can see in the excitement of putting things down and of writing and of becoming an author and sharing the story, the impact and rippled out, reached out like a beam of light further than I had ever thought. I was surprised by the impact that my story had on so many people. The idea then, as people reach out to me saying, I need help with my story, I'm becoming that ghostwriter and an editor and now giving the voice to others. It was a big part of the supporters piece that I needed. If you can imagine my life and knowing what it is, and if I had never reached out for support, I would still be trapped within a situation that is not what I wanted. So if you could even imagine how you could help somebody else out in a particular situation, the power of that is amazing. And I agree. It was a huge blessing. I agree. The idea I want to start off right here is that in my experience and learning all that I've learned, that abuse, you are either a hunter or somebody that feels like they're in a cage, like an animal, a caged animal. And a hunter knows their prey. They know who they're looking for. They camouflage. They put on all of the great things, right? They love bomb. They all of these words that we know that are now, as hopefully you've learned through this month and been more aware of, they are the warnings. They are the red flags because they know what they're looking for. They know how to control that. They know what the power is there for themselves. On the flip side, and I will say that I felt that our marriage was more into this caged animal where my husband was definitely trapped by drug and alcohol abuse, but it was just symptomatically. It wasn't the cause. It was just a symptom of more deeper pain. Regardless of that, if you've ever approached a caged animal, they feel like they don't know if you are there to help them or to hurt them. And the result is the same. Abuse will happen. So here are the facts, and these have been shared throughout the month as well, is that 1 in 4 women are abused in the United States. And this number, 1 in 4, really impacts you personally. You might not think that it does, but it does, because domestic violence and abuse is your problem, because as a community, as a society, it is our challenge to help families become whole and help each other. And you might think, well, I don't have the skills to do that. I don't know how to help. I don't know what to do. The impact of domestic violence personally is so mind blowing because it is not a women's issue, it's a family issue. And over 67% of mass shootings in the United States have only one thing in common, which is domestic violence. There's a loss of over $9 billion in business every year to domestic violence. And 40% to 45% of the women in abusive relationship also had been sexually assaulted. The fracturing of family, divorce, children born to single teen and moms is happening at an alarming rate. You know this. I don't think I shared any kind of fact that we haven't covered through this month with the different speakers that we had. So you know all of these facts. The next question is this. Most people don't know how to help. Their heart is there. They want to help, but how? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. How do you build trust? I don't know how to empathize with somebody because I wasn't in the same situation. The do's, the don'ts. It's tough. So I wanted to share with you tonight 3 things. First is learning how that you can respond to domestic violence. We'll do that through that awesome little quiz that I have. Learning how to break that cycle and become a supporter without having to become like a licensed advocate. You can help somebody with the skills that you have more than you even think. The second thing is to go from having no trust with someone to building that trust. The third is to become somebody's Gloria safely and to show empathy to know how to help somebody that might be in abuse. I am sorry to hear that yours was a hunter. It is a challenge, but there is freedom in life afterwards. So, with this, our first discovery, we want to learn how we can really be a support without becoming that licensed person. So, the discovery, a lot of us respond differently to domestic violence or abuse or that kind of questionable in your gut feeling like something's off. I don't know what's happening here. Really, a big part of this is that I'm feeling too scared to get involved. I'm not a counselor. I'm not trained to help. I'm not qualified. Frankly, I don't want to get into that mess. I don't know what's really my problem. I mean, I don't really know what. Do I? Well, here are the discovery signs. Possibly you might have seen this in a workplace, in a family, in a friendship. She's late to work 4 times in a week. That's the 10th ring and ping on her phone within this meeting. She's wearing her sunglasses out while shopping, covering, protecting things. She didn't make it to the appointment today. Why is she wearing a hoodie in July? She's so quiet, standoffish. I remember she used to be more involved and more talkative. Something has changed. And she can never do anything fun without asking her, boyfriend or significant other first. She can't even act for herself. If you have seen and felt those things, you know somebody who is in abuse. Again, the degree, the variance, the combination of doesn't matter. You probably know someone. So the pinpoints of light of abuse that I understood for things was really this hope that I had, this light that I had, and writing the book was that there was somebody out there who could help me, which was true. I had friends and family who saw all those points, didn't know exactly how to do it. They hadn't been trained. They can't go to the women's shelter and learn those skills necessarily, but thankfully they had a heart and more skills than they had thought, and they put them into play, which saved my life. So now what I want you to take a look at is how do we build trust? How do we make a boundary? What do we do with this? Building trust with somebody to become their friend, to really become their friend and then help them through things is important. The other side of this is also a boundary. Now, the boundary is not for you necessarily. Let me explain. The boundary is something where how you understand where this role is going to take you. So let's get into it. Building trust. Hi, you can see my beautiful family here are my sisters, and they're there supporting as I wrote the book. And then there's mom and dad, and there are many others. This building of trust was huge. They were able to be there, take the phone calls, take the kids on a date and a play date when I needed it most, etc., etc. They were amazing. Now that led into friends, and I wanted to show this from my friend Sally, and I shared this story a few nights ago as well. So Sally got one of my books, Pinpoints of Light, and she read it and then recommended it to somebody else. And anyway, it kind of spread a little bit. Well, one day she was called to ask to help move somebody. And as she showed up to this person's house, what did she see on the table? My book, Pinpoints of Light. Why that is significant is that she was there to help move that person out of an abusive situation. And the lady said that she had gained courage. She was finished. She was done with these 30 years of constant belittlement and all of those things. And she found it very interesting. The last piece of hope was part of this book. The building of trust. Supporters, set your boundary. Be a light to act in the moment. And the boundary is something like a first responder. They're going to show up, be there when they are asking for the help. You're not there to dictate anything to them. You're not there to set a boundary saying, okay, They called me. This is the third time. Now, if they call again, I have to stop. That's not how like a first responder responds, right? If the fireman shows up, they're not going to say, "So, who was playing with the matches? Who burned down the house now? I'm not going to help again." They don't, no, they don't do that because they're there to help and support in the situation. If you are the person that's listening to the vent, if you're the person that's driving the car, if you're the person that's holding the backpack, remember one thing. In the building of this trust, the other person does not have control. They might be able to tell you something, make a plan, want to start to act on it, and at the very last second, you might have to stop. It's not about you. And they didn't do that to upset you. They didn't do that to make you crazy. They did that because you didn't know that on the other side of when they were going to leave, possibly a weapon was going to be involved. So we have to trust the person and move forward. Remember, they don't have control of the situation. I remember making my plan and having things put into place as best that I could. And then life happened. And I had to make some adjustments. Wasn't that I was like, I know, I'll have Anna help me. And at the last minute, just to bug Anna, I'm not going to leave. So if you take it personal, you might not be well suited to be a supporter. And that's okay. Not everyone can. But what we can do is more than what we think we can. I have to show you this person. I've shared this story in the springtime. Now that it's fall and Domestic Violence Awareness Month and the Unite in Light conference, I need to share this. This story. Officer Dersha, the day my first husband was arrested at the school during carpool, which I don't recommend that. He was one of the officers that showed up. And as the officers took down the story, and there was a myriad of things that happened, the long and short of the story is that my first husband was taken away, put into handcuffs, and left. I'm gathering my things. I'm walking to my car, and I need to go to my night class. And I put this in part of the story. So if you read the book, you'll understand why. The point was, this officer came to my car, handed me a card, and said, "Are you running?" I had to make up my mind right then. And I said, yes. And he asked me to please take the card, call the number, leave a message, because that way I will have covered my basis. Because he didn't want to have to come after me for kidnapping my own kids. Super grateful for that. I didn't know anything at the time. I knew how to save my money, get a good job, get a living wage, go to maybe some hotels. I didn't know the legalities of all of these different things. It's not like you take a how to survive a domestic violence class. I hope one of those classes never has to really be implemented because we want relationships to be amazing and not all of this craziness. So I didn't know anything. But with that card, this officer allowed me to get out, stay out, become safe, and help so many other people, my own kids, other people now that we teach. My life has drastically changed because that was that pinpoint throughout my journey to get out and stay out. Now, why this is so special and why this picture is even here, as I was giving my talk in a domestic violence awareness conference for the abuse month in April for a shelter that supported and saved my life, Safe Harbor, as I was getting ready to speak, I had an offside conversation with somebody who knew Officer Dersher and called him out. And he showed up at the conference and came to hear my story. I was just think about that for a minute. When things come full circle, there is so much hope and light out there. I hope this conference has changed many people and given support, because without good supporters in your life, it you don't know what the outcome can be, but with support in your life, your opportunities open huge. So, the third part of this whole journey, learning how to first set up your boundaries, know what to do. Next, understand how to really follow in, become that supporter. And third, now, understanding the empathy that's required in becoming someone's Gloria. It is amazing. Now, for this other story, I don't have the picture of this particular hero, but I have one that represents her with the light coming down and her in that white and purity like an angel gave me hope. On the time that we left, I had gathered my kids. I had 8 minutes. It was November. It was snowing. We escaped. My girls had no shoes, still in the daycare diaper. It's around 11 in the evening. Only a princess dress and a blanket. It was a grab, toss, and escape. But I was cool and I was in it. When I got to that hotel, I knew all would be fine. I had my crap together. Yeah, I didn't. And I think Gloria, who was the desk clerk, saw me and was like, "Oh, sister, you're needing some help." She was very professional. She helped me check in. She showed the kids the Christmas tree in the lobby. They could all have a candy cane. My kids' fingers were bright red feet. She helped me all the way to my room. I felt an instant feeling to trust her. And she asked me, as my last kid went into the door before I closed it, she asked, "Are you running?" And I said yes and broke down, and she embraced me. And then she put me back and looked at me and said, "You'll be safe on my watch." And I fell into that trust 100%. That empathy, understanding, she didn't say, "Oh, well, a long, long time ago, I helped so and so and so and so, or my life helped." She allowed me to be. She gave me support. And the miracle of that was, as we stayed there for those first few nights, I was able to show a picture of my first husband to her, and she let me know after 3 nights that he had come looking for us there. And so again, we were able to leave. These things are amazing. They're life changing. They remember that in this third piece of becoming somebody's Gloria, the empathy, it is not about you, it is about the other person. We don't know what they are suffering through. Like a first responder, you show up and you support. It is all about them. We help them, we love them, we don't judge them. We can't, because they're doing all that they can to leave. Now I know the victimhood, I know the speech they have, I know the poor me. I shared that story for years. It's a sensational thing. It's this idea that poor, 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 and wow, and how did you get out? Thank you. I do thank the Lord every day for Officer Dracer and Gloria and my family and my friends, because these supporters made the difference for me to be able to reach out to you, to my family, to to my own kids, everyone. This whole thing is so important. I believe in it so strongly. I need to ask you a question. So, how many of you feel like parts of this story, as I shared with you, when it comes to domestic violence? If that's any of you out there, remember what we have covered. We have discussed about why we learn how we respond the way we do to domestic violence or abuse or when someone is stuck in it. We want to be able to break that cycle and become the supporter. The second is know how to build the trust with somebody and what our roles and boundaries are. And the third is how to become someone's Gloria. You're not the be all, you're not the savior, but you are a pinpoint of light along the way of their journey, no matter what. That's right. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you are out and you have been safe for years. Beautiful, wonderful. I want to share something with all of you, and this is my supporters toolkit. So I know this is for the people in your life that you know, possibly a coworker, possibly a family member, possibly a friend, combination, and you see they are suffering and are challenged with things, whether it has turned physical or not. There is time to support somebody. It's really about loving us. It's really about taking care of our neighbors. There isn't anything shocking or new here. It is just put together in a way that maybe helps our minds to think, what can I do? Versus, well, I hope somebody else will step up. Or maybe this is the legality and I don't know how to start. Doesn't matter. Really, it becomes with that friendship and building trust, reaching out when you get the prompt and to do it. My toolkit puts all these things together and it utilizes the research of what to do and what not to do, what you can learn, how and when and what to say, understand what it means to become someone's Gloria. And when you're learning the signs of what to watch for, it makes the difference. You learn what your role is and what it's not. And in getting the toolkit, it's so much more than here's a program, watch these videos. There you go. If you think about it, there isn't another place where you can go and get these trainings if you are not yourself in an abuse. And when you're in abuse, you don't need to become the supporter. You need to get out and you need to find the people who can support you. You can even share this with them. The idea is becoming the Gloria within somebody's life, like it was for me. If we did all of these things, it would be worth it to save a life, to save somebody else, to help somebody that we know is really, really needing it. I know that there are many things that we can do. And I have this QR code here. I'm going to drop it down below so that you can get that supporters toolkit for yourself. There might be something that you might be missing. And it really doesn't take a lot. It really just takes a perspective and a little bit of a shift to know how to help somebody. My friend John Michael received this and was looking on how to overcome some things and how to become more of a support within his own life. There are things that I know it can be shared through many different ideas. Now, the people that stayed through this, I have the IQ supporters because I want you to know how it is like that you can become somebody's Gloria. You can help somebody. The supporters out there, I'm sure you could drop down hundreds of stories and I would read every one because the uniqueness of who steps in to help is again life-changing. I have to think about everything. Becoming a teacher, helping to share wisdom, being with children throughout the day, helping to provide for my family, all of this, and knowing that life is worth it. There is so much more than just a conference and learning a few skills here and there. It goes deeper. The toolkit changes lives. When we know somebody needs this 1-800 number and they've asked you to be a network and part of their team, what an honor that you can build that bridge of trust. You know how to do it. The toolkit, the website, the information, it leads into this becoming the ultimate supporter. I know sharing this story tonight might be easy, might be hard, might flash things back, but really, the domestic violence conference and uniting in our light really stretches our light out for all. There's something I want to say before I close this down and we say goodbye for another year, but not really. I mean, you can contact me at any time. There was hopelessness in my life until I found those pinpoints and the people who cared. And what I learned through the whole process of, yes, the escape and the safety on the other side was then learning as I was out of the darkness to become whole. And as our mindsets shift from victim to survivor to thriver to victor, the journey has so many learns along the way. So please be patient with us as we learn how to overcome our victim stories and change them into ones that thrive and ones that become a victor. The ultimate support that you can give is whatever at the moment you can, whether that's listening, whether that's extending out a few dollars, whether that's watching diligently, waiting for the phone call in the middle of the night, waiting for one of those touch where all of a sudden they're there at your door. Can you watch my kids? It's not easy. It's not clean. It's not like linear A, B to C. It's not, but it's possible. And with all of this wrapped together, the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Conference hopes that you will become an ultimate supporter. Yes, I will drop the links down below, but I hope that there's more that have felt that light. And in sharing what a beam of light can do, it is really amazing. Now, I've shared this before. A long time ago, lighthouses and the concept of it has been around for a while. But the technology on how to actually change things happened in the 1800s. And with one candle power, and lens and mirrors to bend and stretch the wave of light, a one beam candle can be stretched, reach over 20 miles. I think at least one candle power in our strength. And when we come together, we're not necessarily adding our candles together, but when we show up for one another, we're actually a reflective mirror or lens that will stretch their light outward. And they in turn are stretching your light outward too. You know when you meet them because the influence goes further than you thought. And that is the hope of how we can get out of our darkness. That is the hope of how we become a pinpoint of light to somebody else. It is the hope of how we can help somebody with support. Thank you, everyone, for coming and being a part of this tonight. I'll drop the links down here below. And just again, thank you for the entire month of support and help. It's been something that I have worked on for my life and want for you to know that you all have light. And if you can be that pinpoint, even though it's 20 miles away, we look at that as a pinpoint. As we get closer, the beam gets brighter and larger because of how we can mirror and reflect other people's light. So I hope that might have changed some of your thoughts or maybe a mind shift on something, is that it is all up to all of us. When the good Lord said, we are our brother's keeper, it's true. So help somebody to shine. Their light is there. It doesn't go out. As long as they have life, they have light. So it's not out. It's not gone. They just need to remember. And as you come close to them and support, they will look and see their light echo back to them. They're not lost in shadow because there's always hope with light. I just want to share that with all of you, that I know that for many of us who believe that God is real and his life and love are for all, that hope and light is there. And I think he shares that for all of us, kind of to be those angels and supports here on earth. Be an answer to somebody's prayer, be an answer and a blessing to someone through the hands of God. And I feel like that supporters toolkit is a way, again, that you can shine as that mirror to shine somebody's light as the wave of light bends and stretches out. Let's help it to reach those 20 miles, because they have so much to give and offer that we don't even know, right? There's so much potential there. So why not? Way, there is always hope. There is always love. And you can see it's kind of that, hope I don't go into the ugly cry. This stuff is just real. So I just want you to know that. And you can contact us at any time. Oh, here goes the nose. Sorry. You are that light. You are that hope. You are that pinpoint within somebody else's abyss that happens. And when you can be there and show up and can support, it makes a whole difference. It did for me, for my children, for my family, and now for all the other people that I can touch and impact. So again, I thank you. Thank you again for coming for the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Conference. Thank you for a wonderful third year again. I'll drop all the links below. You have the information. And I know that you will make great opportunities and choices in your life to help someone's light to shine outward and onward. Thank you, everybody. I agree. Thank you for all of the guests, for all of the people coming. And I can't wait to share this with you. Love you all. Thank you. And until next year, we'll see you soon. Be that beacon and forever shine. We'll see ya.